to another episode of Prioritize. They accomplish while you drown in lists. It's difficult to juggle your responsibilities. Husband, father, brother. It goes on, but your energy doesn't.
You pondering what I'm pondering?
Prioritize what's right for you, not what's left behind. This is Prioritize with Toby Baker.
You'll have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
Hello! Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Toby. You know, it seems in life we can get really bogged down with a lot of things. I know that I do personally. Sometimes it's very, very easy to lose sight of what's truly important and help to prioritize things in my life. So hopefully this podcast will help you to do the same. And for my first episode, I just wanted to go over a blog post that I recently made and go over it with you and see what you think. You got some comments. Always welcome those directly after this. So if that's all right with you, then we'll go ahead and start the blog post. Some may call me a thief, but then again, you gave it to me. I didn't ask for it. I didn't bargain for it. I didn't demand it. You just gave it away, free and clear. Oddly enough, I didn't even see it coming. It was quite a surprise if we're putting all our cards on the proverbial table. You avoided making a decision on your own based on how you perceived I would really handle it, or accept it, or reject it. And this based on some preconceived notion that I have some ownership in your decision-making process. But the truth be told, these are things which I don't possess. Until, that is, you give away the rights. My apologies. I should have introduced myself a little before I began rambling, but sometimes an introduction just seems rather meaningless when you don't even ask my name. And we really have no relation to one another, yet nearly every day, and sometimes multiple times within that day, do I discover that once again, there you are, handing it over as if it meant nothing to you. Why is this? I ask myself. Do you not care about it? Do you have so much of it residually just lying around overfilling like 12 baskets that you could care less? It is particular, however, this whole thing, because after you release it to me without prejudice, you seem quite discontent, almost angry, dare I say in a mad rage, oblivious to the surroundings and the people within your own circle. This thing of which I so carefully speak, in case you missed it, people call it joy. And we blame its loss on everything from lack of service at the local restaurant to the department store greeter was on their Android or their iPhone rather than doing their job. And I would imagine this on Android because it takes so much trouble to work the Android phone. Where iPhone, there's no troubles there. So I think you understand what I say. Hey, they didn't like my tweet. They didn't share my post. They didn't respond to my text. It appears that my world is coming to an end. Which, actually, it's not too far off from what some people believe. I remember reading a story about a guy working at McDonald's and his girlfriend dumped him at the mall. So he was deciding to take his own life because he had nothing left to live for. And I'm thinking, this guy doesn't have his priorities straight. So I recently spent the better part of an hour with a friend of mine. We're just conversing, and she was contemplating a very important decision, which would be of great benefit to all the parties involved. Of course, I would have no benefit in this, so she felt pretty freely in sharing what was going on in her life about the potential for marrying this other person who was substantially younger than her, and she was highly concerned about how other people would look at them as a couple. All right, and here's the thing, gang. They weren't doing anything wrong morally. They weren't doing anything wrong biblically, scripturally. So the question becomes, of what business is it to others that they are emotionally involved with one another and potentially looking at marriage in the future? And I got to say, I don't know that it's any. But we put our joy in the hands of so many other people thinking, well, if I don't do X, Y, Z, then all these people are going to look at me as weird. What's wrong with Toby? And hey, don't get me wrong here, okay? I'm the last one to point fingers and toss ridicule in the face of others that are materializing what they actually believe others will think when they choose one thing or another. And I finally had to sit down and ask myself, does it really matter? Do they honestly care what I'm wearing or what I'm not wearing? For years, I avoided listening to one of my own personal interests in music in my own car. And why is that, you ask? Because I was afraid other people were going to make fun of me. And then I came up and said, you know what, this is my car, it's my music, I don't care what they think. So I started listening to my own music. And did they mock me for listening to Ace of Base in the mid-2000s? Yep, they sure did. And they were mocking me all the way home while they were walking home and I was in the car. But hey, that was years ago, and I'm sure they're over it. And just like the proverb says, haters gonna hate. Look at Proverbs 5:8. So Grandma burnt the turkey, the neighbor dogs ate the ham, and by golly, you actually did shoot your eye out. The last thing you want to be known is as a soul-stealing, heart-pounding, red-eyed fury of anger unknown, waiting patiently beneath the surface of a slightly cool but incredibly fragile facade. And in the very likely event that it does crack and the boiler goes through the roof, you would forcefully impress upon people to run, and run fast. Like they're the third cheetah in line of the ark and it's beginning to rain. Why lose your cool when other people are pointing their finger at you like, how dare you guys get married, because look at your age difference. There's 10 years between you. And you got to ask yourself, why does it matter to them? Like, why place your decision-making process in their hands? Some may call me a thief, but the truth is, I never stole your joy or your happiness. You freely gave it away when you responded with such anger to a situation about which was so predictable, one could have clocked it with the ball on the wrist. Maybe it's time for us to stop the insanity and reclaim our joy we so freely give away to people who may unknowingly pull out in front of us in traffic, accidentally forget to add starch at our dry cleaning, or consume entirely in record time our favorite bag of flaming hot Cheetos. Not that that's ever happened to me by somebody else who took my bag of flaming hot Cheetos. But there's a friend I know who... Anyway, perhaps if we choose to be happy in the face of adversity and throw caution and mishap into the wind with style and then some, while embracing the good and focusing on the positive, we just might be able to keep our joy intact. But then again, that's just my humble opinion. Hey, wait a second. All right, don't touch the dial. Hey, if this helped you at all, could you do me a small favor? Huh? Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor here? Can you press the like button on that? Can you press like, maybe share and comment, do a couple comments? I sure would appreciate it. We'll keep these things coming. Hope you guys are able to prioritize just a little bit better.